You're watching The 7 from WATE 6 on your side.
And good evening, I'm Bo Williams. Welcome to The 7. You know, it's been 2.5 years since Zach Monday, a 15-year-old Gibbs High School student, died. Our first Big 7 at 7 story tonight. A man convicted in his death is expected to get out of prison today. Isaiah Brooks got a 10-year sentence, but a judge agreed to his attorney's request that Brooks serve the rest of his sentence in the community with supervision, meaning probation. That sentence began 2 years ago today. Brooks had pleaded guilty to felony reckless endangerment. Investigators said Brooks and Monday got into a fight at a party where kids were drinking underage. Monday suffered a head injury. Doctors say his injuries would have been treatable had he been brought to a hospital sooner. As for today's news, while the split confinement was allowed, a request for judicial diversion was denied. We spoke today with attorney Scott Lanzon. He's not involved with the case. Lanzon says no judicial diversion is a big deal, meaning Brooks will always have reckless homicide on his record. For now, he will be transitioning back to life outside of prison through a halfway house.
Make sure that they get acclimated to having rules put into place that they must follow. They're the court's rules, and they're there to be followed.
If he breaks those conditions of probation, he could be back in prison. One condition is to live again in a halfway house, as we mentioned. Lanzon says Brooks will have to follow that house's rules, which will include not drinking alcohol. Brooks' attorney told us today, quote, Isaiah and his family are looking forward to assimilation into society, having learned a painful lesson, and now having served an appreciable sentence relative to his terrible tragedy that has destroyed multiple families. Well, 2 other young people were also charged and took guilty pleas in this case. Chelsea Hobson on a charge of accessory after the fact. She was sentenced to 30 days in jail but was released early with a chance to have her record cleared after 6 years. Noel Leva also pleaded guilty to an accessory charge and furnishing alcohol to a minor. He is serving 3 years of probation. Answers in 2 shooting cases make up the next slot on our Big 7 list for you. The first of those, a deadly shooting over the weekend. Today, we learned the name of the victim, Jamichael Dossett. Police found the 26-year-old Georgia man Sunday night on Catalpa Avenue. KPD says there are no suspects in custody right now. They are still investigating tonight. And in the other shooting, Thursday in Lonsdale, police have now arrested a suspect, Jeremiah Joyner. He is now charged with attempted murder. Court paperwork lays out the accounts from 2 victims, one who saw the other run from gunshots on Rudy Street across to a gas station parking lot. That victim who saw it happen was grazed by a bullet whizzing past his head, leaving a minor wound. The other man was shot in the stomach and leg. According to the report, he survived and after surgery was able to identify Joyner. He's in jail ahead of a bond hearing set for tomorrow. Of course, we'll keep following Joyner's case for you. Our next big story features a man from a big story that we followed for months. Don Wells. He's the father of Summer Wells, the 5-year-old who's been missing since June. Today he was arrested on a violation of probation charge after a DUI arrest over the weekend. Now, our Tri-Cities affiliate was there as Wells left the courtroom. He had been to court to face the DUI charge from Saturday. Now, Wells mentioned he was unsure how he could keep up with court expenses along with maintaining child support for his sons. Wells insists the blood work from Saturday night would tell all. Over the weekend, the Wells family put out a statement describing the situation as a, quote, stupid decision. Now, Wells' daughter Summer disappeared from her home in the Beach Creek community. Weeks and weeks of searching followed with no sign of the little girl. The Amber Alert for Summer is still active tonight. Well, a change from state lawmakers out of the COVID-19 special session makes our big story list. It covers how communities choose school board members. Now, while lawmakers were rolling back COVID-19 restrictions, they also decided to give the option for school board races to go partisan if local political parties ask for that. Knox County's Republican Party chair plans to make that ask once the bill is signed. His Democratic counterpart says he will still have to talk with party members. School boards have had lots to consider since the pandemic started, especially moves like reopening schools and mask mandates. Knox County school board meetings have seen protests and lots of debates since the pandemic hit, with decisions to be made over masks and more. Now, other communities have seen serious anger. 2 board members we spoke with are not giving the move their support.
At the end of the day, we as elected members of a Board of Education need to be able to center students at all times and need to not feel any kind of allegiance to a political ideology. And so much of our national partisan politics have nothing to do with local school board policy decisions.
I was very disappointed on the bill. I ran 4 years ago in a nonpartisan race, and I got into running for school board because I cared about kids, I cared about education. I was a parent that had always been very involved in my kids' schools, and I really don't think it's a partisan issue.
Knox County Board Chair Christy Christie was not available for an interview, but emailed us back saying her focus is on the students, making sure they keep improving academically and finding the best superintendent. Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally described what actually passed.
It is a permissive legislation, but there will be partisan races, so that people will know the party that's behind each and every candidate, or if it's an independent, they'll know they're an independent person.
Something to remember here is that the COVID changes now go to Governor Lee to sign, allowed to become law without his signature, or to veto. Lee, by the way, was asked about this next move today. Now, if Lee does veto the bill, lawmakers could reverse that veto with a simple majority vote. Well, our next big story looks ahead to tomorrow. We are your local election headquarters, and tomorrow, 5 Knoxville City Council seats will be on the ballot. Those are for Council Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, but eligible voters in any district get to have a say. Early voting wrapped up last Thursday with more than 10,000 people taking part, plus nearly 1,000 absentee ballots. Polls will be open tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now head to our website, WATE.com, click on 6 things to go for Election Day information. We'll have results on air and online as soon as they come in. And we're on your side with our next big story for you. Another bride has come forward claiming a Gatlinburg catering company canceled the morning of her wedding. She heard about our story Friday about the Happy Pinecone Cafe where 3 brides were left scrambling. Well, over the weekend, the Patton Kingery families learned that none of the food services they had paid for, more than $2,500 worth, would be there. Other local businesses even stepped up to help out. Now, they have not heard about any refunds. The Pinecone Cafe's owner, though, emailed us a statement. In part, it said, "My plan is to stand and repay. I can't change the past, but I can reevaluate, correct, and grow my business stronger for the future," end quote. And rounding out our Big 7 at 7 for you, Dolly Parton is thinking about what else? Christmas. She and the good folks over at Dollywood are busy planning their Smoky Mountain Christmas event. Dolly spoke with us about this exciting time of year for the park.
It's just going to be a special time as always, and this time of year I always get excited because I love Christmas, so that's a special time for me to even go to Dollywood, but just a special time anyway, so hope everybody has as much fun as I hope to have this year.
Smoky Mountain Christmas, by the way, kicks off on Saturday.